get an improvement. And whenever I don't get improved, or let's say I even learn worse than I expected, I learned one thing, not to break heart. You know, I try to learn how to stay strong and know that there is always tomorrow. There is always tomorrow. So I keep on trying and trying and trying. So I learned one thing, that I don't need to wear myself out of one thing. There is this saying, I remember reading a book that says, don't sweat small stuff. Do not sweat small stuff. Anybody who knows that book? Yeah, I was given that book by my manager when I went to USA in 1995, because that's when I did my first place, like professionally, in the United States. And she got me that book, and she said, "This is a good book. Maybe you must read it." And when I kept on reading, because I kept on, narrating my stories to her, and she said, "You need to read this book." And after reading that book, believe me, my mind was not the same. I had a different mindset. So as I kept on learning, I just have this kind of a dream. Because Catherine is not considered in her country like having experience of learning, what do I have to do in order to make these people know that yes, Catherine can do it? I had a dream, and I thank God for my manager. Her name is Lisa Pastor. I've been working with her since 1995, up to date. She is my manager, but we turned to be friends, and we are more than friends, we are like sisters, regardless of her nationality, regardless of her color of skin. So we have been working together. We have been climbing the ladder together in order for Catherine to get where she is today. And she kept on encouraging me and telling me that, "Catherine, don't worry. You know what? You are a star. You are a star." Even before I get to win a race, you are a star. Well, I could not understand what a star is. Okay, I used to know those people with big names, like Tekla Lelupe back in my country. I used to know Dr. Kipchoge Keino. He was our first gold medalist, and in my country, he's known as the father of athletics, because he was the first guy who went out there and get to represent our country, and he won a couple of golds. And since I knew him, so she could try to make me understand what a star is. So she said, "It is possible for you to become like so and so." And then I said, "All right." And with that, I had a dream. I started dreaming becoming a star. And by dreaming, having that dream, I had a very strong belief that, well, with God, I can make it. And I kept on, doing all my trainings and asking God to bless the work of my hand, because the Bible says so. And as I kept on training, I saw the hand of God, because whenever I could do my training, the Lord saw me through, and I could continue improving my time. And as I waited and waited and waited to get to become a star, I just went this journey. And in 1996, I tried to make the cross-country team for the World Championships. And as much as I tried, I never get better, because I have a very low step. So I don't lift my leg. When you look at people running, there are those people who normally lift their legs up to here, but mine is not. It just go up to here. Even when I got a coach, he really tried to work on my step, and he could not manage it. So don't worry on how you look, because that's how your Creator made you. And He had a reason and a purpose to make you the way you look. So don't ever even think of anything about you, because something that you are not the one who created, you can even change. So I could change myself. I remember one day, I had my coach, he had to give me those 2 stones, and he took me to a hill. I had to do a hill walk. And he said, you know, your arms stays here. So you have to drop them a bit. So in order to have, you know, a nice, you know, movement of your arms and, you know, your legs, so that you can have a good coordination, we have to do this. So he tried and tried and tried for some time, for a couple of months, to try to adjust my step, but it could not work. But thank God, because the Lord had a purpose for that step. And when I knew that God had a purpose with that, so I tried to utilize it and take it positively, regardless of what. So as cross country could not work, the last year that I tried cross country was back in 1999, and that was after having my daughter. And when I had my daughter, I was 24 years and some months, because I had my mindset that I want to have my first baby before I turn 25. So, and thank God it happened. And I really thank God, because He is a God. When you commit your plans unto Him, He always makes you succeed. So, after having the baby, I really look forward to become better, a better athlete. And, you know, I really used my daughter as one of the encouragement to make me even learn better and push learning so hard. Because I knew, one, before I could run and, you know, not put a lot of effort, but when I had my daughter, I could look back and know that I have a work to do. I have my daughter to take care of. I have my daughter to educate. I have a daughter that I need to have a better life that I had when I was growing up. And as everybody knows, when we were born, all of us, life was much easier by then. But for those who are being born, life is becoming, you know, hard and expensive. So you have to work harder or extra harder so that you can be able to maintain that kind of life that you want to lead, or your daughter, your son, you want them to lead. So as I kept on training, I used to leave my daughter with my husband if I could not be able to travel with her. And my husband, his name is Anthony Muhia Maina. For sure, he used to call himself an international mother and father, because when I'm not home, he is with our daughter. Wherever he goes, and even to get to travel, the very first time, he traveled from home to come to US to join me in order for all of us to go for the Boston Marathon. He is the man, he was one of the African men that people could see changing their daughters, the pampers. And they consider it like, is this man a total man, or, you know? I don't know how life is here, but in Kenya, most of people consider him like a less African man. So, but I thank God. He knew what he was doing, because he knew that he was there to support me, and as a couple, we needed to support each other. And regardless of what people are going to say, as far as both of you have got, you know, an agreement, no problem. It is your house. It doesn't matter. You know, those other people, I don't think they matter. Yeah, it is between you two. So I thank God, and I really glorify God for him, because I consider him as a gift and a blessing in my life. Because if I didn't have him in my life, I think raising my daughter and trying to balance my career as an athlete, it could be very difficult. Even today, as we are talking, he is the one who is doing, we have a visiting for my daughter, who is doing O-level this June. and they have a visiting day. And since mom is in Malaysia, she would be able to visit the daughter. So the dad is going to do it, and later on they are going to give me a call so that I can talk to her. So that's how we live. And I thank God for that. So, get out of that topic, I'd like to say, after 1999, when I could not make the team for cross country, I made my decision to run the marathon. Because I thought like, marathon is a distance that nobody cares. Nobody cares your step. Nobody cares about your time, what time you finish. Nobody cares your learning style. And well, I just give my manager a call and I told her, well, since I can't make the team for cross country, is there any race that you have for me that I can come and learn during spring? And she said, oh, Catherine, I'm really sorry because none of the short distances who have got any budget left for you. So unless you go for the marathon. And I said, well, I don't mind, just book me in one. And she said, which one do you want? You know, I used to know Boston. And thank God, the previous year, no, not previous year, in 1996, before I go back home and I conceived my daughter, I had done a race there, a 10-kilometer race, and the announcer turned to be elite coordinator in the Boston Marathon. And after the race, he offered to take me out and show me the course of the Boston Marathon. So I was wondering, why did he have to show me the course? And he said, maybe sometime you'll have a dream of doing Boston Marathon. So it clicked in my mind when my manager said, nobody has a budget apart from the marathon. I said, well, why don't I go to Boston? Whereby there was this kind man who really bothered himself to go and show me the Boston Marathon course. All right. I thought I had enough training, but I was very good. I was in a good shape for cross country. I didn't have what we call enough mileage for the marathon, but I thought since I have a lot of speed, I can make it. I tried to put in mileage, okay, trying to guess, like, you know, how am I going to run this race? How will, you know, I didn't have much, you know, knowledge about the marathon. And I didn't even have a respect for that distance. And through experience, I get to run that I must respect the distance. I must have enough mileage to get to run a good marathon. And well, when it came to be on 17th of April in 1999, well, I jumped into the starting line of Boston Marathon, and I did it. I was feeling good the whole way, and I had this smart girl that I was learning with. She was the former champion for 2 times in the Boston Marathon. She came from Ethiopia, and she said she was looking for her 3rd win, and she led. We led with her up to 30 kilometers, and when we got to the 35 kilometers, she kind of just shifted her gear, and I could not hang up with her anymore. So I was left. At 37, I started struggling. When I got to 40, I could not move. I had to stop. So when I stopped, I started asking myself, oh, is it a must that I do this? You know, I had all these pains, you know, from my legs up to my back and everywhere. I always tell people, it's only my tooth that wasn't hurting that day and my hair. Everything seemed to be very, very painful. And when I stopped at 40, somebody, I just kind of had some voice from across the road, and somebody was shouting like, Catherine, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. You know, I didn't know, like, when you're running a marathon, once you try to stop, the lactic acid starts building up. And it is very, very hard to get to start to move again. Okay, I decided, okay, fine, I'll have to have my water and then I started running again in order to get to finish this race. And I had this strong voice in my mind that was saying, Catherine, remember, you are not coming to Boston to win the race, but you are coming here to finish the race. So, and since you have not yet finished, the race is 42.2, so you get to get on. So I went back to the course, and I started once more. I stopped at 40 kilometers in 2 hours and 11 seconds. And when I started running, by the time I closed the finish line, and by then I was second. Don't forget that, I was number 2. So when I stopped, and I could see some girls coming, and I started waving them like, come, pass me, don't worry. Yeah, I became like a traffic. So number 5 woman, she just passed me on the finish line. Like, this is the line. I didn't have power or strength to just lift my leg and be like this. So I was going like, because I could not lift my leg, and when I tried to lift my leg, I used to feel like there is this kind of pressure, like a weight that really needed to lift myself up. And I felt like, I don't know what is happening here, but I feel like I can fly, but I don't want to do that. So let me just run as slowly as I can, just to get to finish. So finally, I made it. But believe me, when I crossed the finish line like this, I look at my watch, and I didn't hope to finish this race under 2 hours and 30 minutes. And I surprised myself, regardless of the pains, regardless of difficulties and anything that I went through the course, I just felt like I finished my race in 2 hours, 28 minutes, and 27 seconds. My debut in Boston. And when I was training for this race, as much as I tried to train for that marathon, the longest run I did was 2 hours and 17 minutes. Now you can imagine why I had to go like this. It's because I didn't have the energy, I didn't have the mileage. So it is always good for all of us, if we want to prepare to do something, let us get, ready, mentally and physically. I set my mind. I had this passion that was driving me, that I want to do the marathon, but I wasn't prepared physically. As much as I wanted to do it, my mind was not totally prepared for it because I didn't know what to expect. But thank God, experience is the best teacher. Because since then, I never looked back. Regardless of the pain I went through, it taught me that next time I need to prepare as much as I can. And when I go back there, I want to be to the front. And that night, I remember after the race, I had to be taken for doping. I was completely dehydrated. I was all like white. I had, because of the sweat, I had, some salt was sticking on my face. So I was looking all white. And, my husband could not believe it. In fact, I remember him, he thought like, he used to tell me, after some years, that when he saw me, he thought like I'm going to die. And he tried so badly not to tell me to stop running. Because he knew for sure, if he tells me you should not be running, he's going to break my heart, and he didn't want to. In fact, he opened that after, I think 3-4 years. When I won the world record, that was in 2001. He said, I'm so grateful that I didn't tell you not to be running, because if I did it, you could not be able to become the world record winner. That was in 2001. It was after 2-3 years. So Now after the Boston, I said that night, even after staying in the recovery room for 4 hours without getting the sample, because they wanted to take the urine for doping, I couldn't go to the bathroom, not until after 4 hours. I kept on drinking, rehydrating myself, but nothing. So it didn't worry me, but it worried my husband so badly. And when we went back home, I had to prepare. And I said, I don't want anything to happen to me again like this. But thank God, that very night, when I went to sleep, before it was in the morning, I think it was around 3, I had this strong voice that said, Catherine, even if they do this race tomorrow, you are not going to be beyond number 3. And I took it. I believed that even if they are going to do it again, I'm not going to be number 3. And with that kind of strong voice and belief, I decided I'm going to work as hard as I can, and I'm going to come back to Boston again. That very year, in October, I got chosen by my federation. The same people who said Catherine doesn't have experience, and I was sent to Palermo for World Half Marathon. I did it, and I got my first medal. I got a bronze in the distance. And with that, I got so much encouraged, and after a month, I went to New York Marathon. Thank God, I got second place. And I improved my time by less than a minute, because I got my time as 2 hours, 27 minutes, and 34 seconds. Come year 2000, when I went back home after New York, I tried to train and get ready for the year 2000, and I knew it was an Olympic year, and I was really dying to go for the Olympics. That was my big, big dream, to get to represent my country. I can't tell you how much I loved to go out there and hold my flag, and represent my country. That pride, I was really dying to do that. And no matter how much I tried, there was always something, kind of a blocking, stumbling block that I could not, break that. But thank God. There was one thing I used to tell myself, that if the Lord has not said yes, nobody can say yes. But when the Lord opens a door, nobody can shut. No man can shut it. So I kept on waiting and praying and trying hard. Training, trying to do my part, because I believe there is my part and there is part for God, divine intervention. So as I kept on training, I went to Boston, and my federation gave me all this hope, like, Catherine, if you're going to win this race, we are going to give you a spot for you to go to Sydney to represent the country for the Olympics. And I said, wow, I'm going to represent my country. Now this is my chance. I went to this race that very morning with a lot of encouragement and with a lot of joy, knowing that if I do it here, I'm going to represent my country. And I did it. Thank God. I won my first Boston Marathon in the year 2000, and it was my first big win. And I did the race in 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 53 seconds. Thank you so much. I did improve my time by that much, but I thank God, even if it were for 1 second, I was so grateful. Because the Bible says in the book of Philippians 4 and verse 12, there is this apostle called Paul. He used to say, I've learned to be content. I have learned the secret of being content. Whether I have plenty or I have nothing, whether I am satisfied or I'm hungry, I have learned the secret of being content. So I really thank God for that, and I went back home very proud that now I got a chance to go out and represent my country. But guess what? When the time comes, they just kind of replaced my name with somebody else. And this girl, we are from the same tribe, but she trains in Japan by then. She used to train in Japan. And her time, she did the Osaka Marathon. She did Osaka Marathon, and it's a very fast course. If some of you have been there, I don't know, but if you want to run a fast time, Osaka Marathon is one of the fastest course. So she had run 2 hours, 23 minutes, and some seconds. And compared to Catherine's 2:26 and 53 seconds, it's not good enough. So Esther, she went. Believe me, none of my teammates brought medal back home. I didn't go. I can't say I was good enough for it, but none of, in fact, one of the ladies who went, she brought a bronze. She brought a bronze in the 10,000 meters. Because I was trying to make the team either for the marathon or the 10,000. And there was this one marathoner who wanted to do both of the events. She wanted to do 10,000 and she wanted to do the marathon at the same time. So I couldn't get a spot. So I was satisfied. I was left back home. And as I was left, I said, well, maybe this is not God's time. I'm just going to be patient and wait for God's time. And I kept on with my training. So I went to US,